All right, so hello everybody. We're really excited to welcome you all here today for our summer student information session to talk to you all about summer research opportunities and programs for next summer here at UHN. So just to introduce myself, my name is Jordan Beck and I am a coordinator with the UHN Office of Research Trainees. I'd also like to acknowledge my colleague Amanda, who is here as well today. So before we begin today's event, I would first just like to take a moment to acknowledge the sacred land on which the University Health Network operates. For thousands of years, this has been the traditional territory of the Huron-Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, and most recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit River. This territory was the subject of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Haudenosaunee Confederacy and the Confederacy of the Ojibwe and Allied Nations to peaceably share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Today, the meeting place of Toronto is still home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work and learn on this territory. So now just a few housekeeping notes for today's session. So just to emphasize, the slides, the recording, as well as links to any of the resources or web pages or documents that are shared and links through QR codes on the slides will be shared with you all in an email after today's event. So no need to rush to write things down or anything like that. You'll receive everything in a package after, so you can take all the information in and prepare some questions for the end. We do ask that you please remain muted and keep your videos off. We'll have a lot of people joining today, so we just want to make sure that everyone can hear and see everything clearly. There'll also be an opportunity to ask any of the questions that you have at the end of the presentation today, and this will be done exclusively using Slido. We'll be sharing a link into the chat throughout the session, as well as closer to when the Q&A period kicks off, so that you can type in your questions there. Lastly, this is also a safe space, so we do ask that all the participants remain respectful and follow the ORT Code of Conduct, and any non-compliance will result in removal from today's event. And I guess I shouldn't have said lastly because I have one more point, but your feedback is also extremely important to us. So there will be a couple of opportunities to share your feedback with us. So there'll be 2 Zoom polls that will just pop up onto your screen. One at the end of our presentation, and then one right at the end of the session. And those will be just quick multiple choice questions where you can share your thoughts. As well, there'll be a survey that'll pop up in a browser once you exit the Zoom meeting, and that'll be an opportunity to share any of your written feedback with us. But again, please do take a moment. It's really important to us. I see someone has already enabled the closed captions feature, which is amazing. But just to kind of go over this quickly, closed captions is one of the many features available to people taking part in Zoom meetings, as they've already been enabled. But for those of you who don't know how to, you can turn them on by clicking the Show Captions button in the bottom bar of the Zoom window. Then you can click the little arrow on the right-hand side of that button to adjust them to your own personal preferences. You can change things like the font size, the color, the contrast, and a number of other things. Oops, excuse me. So we have a lot of information to cover today. So we'll be talking about you'll be talking about UHN and the research that's taking place here, what you can expect during the summer. We'll provide guidance on how to apply to a summer position. We'll also hear some advice from a UHN scientist, Dr. Beata Sander, as well as from a former UHN summer student, Daniel Fragomeni. Then we'll end it off with a question and answer period where we'll be able to answer any questions that you have. We have an hour and a half scheduled for the session today, so I think we'll have lots of time to get through all the information, as well as ask and answer a lot of questions. So with that, let's jump in. So we have a very comprehensive website that has a lot of information that we are going to talk about today, including different databases, educational opportunities, and so much more. We will be linking and referencing many of these resources today, but this is a great place to refer back to if you are looking for this information again. And just to reemphasize for those of you who are just joining us, we will be sending an email after the session today that includes a link to the recording and links to any of the resources that we share today. So this webpage will also house summer job postings when they are available and any other information that we think would be helpful to you. Our website also has many other opportunities available. Many of our own workshops and events are available to everyone, so we encourage you to join even if you are not working at UHN. So the first thing I want to talk about is why participate in summer research. So there are many people here today, and all of you are already interested in doing research over the summer, which is amazing. So the first reason is that you can explore whether you even like research. Over the summer, you'll get a sample of what research is like to help you understand if this could be a possible career avenue for you to explore. You can also gain valuable experience to help you with your applications to programs such as graduate school or different professional schools. Many programs either require past research experience or it's highly beneficial to have as it can strengthen your application and make you stand out. You'll also build really important skills like your research and communication skills, broaden your scientific understanding, build self-confidence, and that list can go on. Just one thing I want to share is that I remember when I started doing research, what it really helped me, doing the research really helped me understand the concepts that I was learning in my undergraduate courses and lectures. I thought it was really cool that I was able to put those theories and concepts that I was learning in the lecture room in practice while working in the lab. So I thought that was just a really memorable experience from my own research time. Another benefit is that you'll have the opportunity to explore potential career paths. So if you come to work at UHN, you will get the opportunity to meet lots of cool people in lots of different roles. You'll be able to meet with them, learn about their backgrounds, their education, and then gain insights into the career paths and opportunities that you could explore in science and healthcare and see if any of those are right for you. And by meeting all of these people, you'll have an opportunity to network and build your network. And a last point here is just you can have fun. You'll learn so much. You'll be meeting so many people. It's a really, really great time to explore all of your curiosities. So I just want to talk a little bit about why UHN and a little bit of an overview of UHN. So for those of you who don't know, UHN, or the University Health Network, consists of 5 different hospitals. So that's the Princess Margaret Cancer Centre, Toronto General Hospital, Toronto Rehab Institute, Toronto Western Hospital, as well as West Park Healthcare Centre. There's also one education centre, the Michener Institute, and intertwined within there are 2 different research institutes and a number of different research sites within them, each having a specific research focus. And we'll talk about each of those sites and the research in a moment. But the breadth of research at UHN is so vast. There are over 1,200 principal investigators conducting research in all different areas of healthcare. So this, of course, leads to lots and lots and lots of publications, lots of research funding. And as you can see, there's a lot of space where research happens. There's over 1 million square feet of research space at UHN. And this makes UHN one of the largest research hospital networks within the country. So what's exciting about UHN is, again, that it is just so vast. It covers everything from basic science, computational science, translational, clinical research. And as I mentioned, they are split into a number of different research areas and institutes and sites. And you can see some of those hospital sites listed here, as well as some of the topics of research that's covered. So we're just going to go over those in a minute. But what the cool thing about having these different sites is that within these sites, you'll be able to meet a lot of like-minded individuals who are interested in and working in that similar field of research. So within there, you also have additional opportunities for other trainings and other learning opportunities. So lots of great places to learn. So I'm just going to go over a little bit each of those different sites across UHN, so just to give you a very high-level overview of the research themes and what research is like. So first we have KITE, and so KITE is associated with the Toronto Rehab Institute. And listed on the slide are some of the key research topics, and that includes things like AI and robotics for rehabilitation, cardiovascular fitness, neural engineering and therapeutics, sleep science. The list can go on and on. Some of the images that you can see on the right-hand side of the screen are some of the research facilities over at Kite. On the top, I believe that's called Street Lab. So basically, there's like a platform in the center of the room or pod, and then there's a big screen around you where they can do all kinds of different tests, answer all of their. They can do a bunch of different experiments to answer the research questions. One I find particularly cool is the driver lab. It's another one of those pods with the screen, and there's a car inside where they can do different research and answer different questions for driving. Next, we have Kremble, which is associated with the Toronto Western Hospital. And at Kremble, there's many different research topics, and these focus around brain and neuroscience, bone and joint disorders, as well as eye disorders. Next up, we have MacEwan. So at MacEwan, the key research topic here is stem cells. So they do a variety of research in regenerative medicine, blood cancer, cardiac regeneration, liver disease, and so much more. Next up, we have the Princess Margaret Cancer Centre, which is associated with the Princess Margaret Hospital. So you may be familiar with the Princess Margaret through their fundraising events, such as the Ride and Walk to Conquer Cancer, or some of their other events like the road hockey or the cricket. But research here is focused on cancer, of course, and uses a variety of different approaches to answer cancer-related questions. Things like using computational biology, genetics, immuno-oncology, protein structures, supportive care, and again, as always, the lists can go on. UHN also has an educational research site, and this is called TIER, or the Institute of Education Research. Their research is focused on teaching, learning, and practice, society, systems, and structures, technology, innovation, and simulation. So what this means is, so an example of the research is looking at operating rooms and the communication that happens within them. And then what they're doing is looking to see how the communication can be made better and therefore help make operations happen and occur more seamlessly. And last but not least, we have the Toronto General Hospital research. And here, they do a lot of different research on topics ranging from cardiovascular health, communities of health, infectious diseases, transplantation, and more. Some really cool research that happens at, Toronto General is what's shown in the image on the right. So this is an example of during a surgery, they have a lung that is sitting outside of the body, and then they're able to assess different factors and things to ensure that that lung can then be successfully transplanted back into the patient. So this again was an extremely high-level overview, just telling you about all the different topics, or some of the topics of research that happen at UHN. But if you're interested in learning more about what's happening at UHN, the different research groups, and so much more, you can visit the Research at UHN webpage. This QR code here, but again, it will be included in the package after today's event. Now, let's move over to the summer student program. So this is why I imagine most people are here today. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what the summer program is, who is eligible, and what you can expect. So first, the UHN Summer Training and Research Program, or the STAR program, is an acronym that you may hear often. So this is a program that is open to all summer students at UHN. Even if you are part of another program at UHN, everyone is welcome. So the first step in participating in this program is finding a summer research project under a UHN scientist. After that, this is a program that the Office of Research Trainees runs. And this program consists of a series of educational learning sessions to build your research and professional development skills. So within this program, you'll be introduced to topics such as networking and elevator pitches, research integrity, presentation skills, as well as there'll be some different panels to explore a graduate school, as well as different careers in healthcare. At the end of the program, you will have an opportunity to share your research at our research day to help you further build your presentation and communication skills. And if you complete the requirements of the program, you'll receive a certificate of program completion, a great thing to put on your resume or CV. So now, who is eligible for UHN summer research positions? So the majority of summer students are undergraduate students and are at all different stages within their degrees and have different experience levels. So this means that you don't have to be at the later stage of your degree or have any prior research experience. Everybody is welcome. We also have medical students join us for the summer doing research projects. There are also some different health professional learners, such as nursing students, occupational therapy, speech pathologists, who have time off during their programs, and they come and join us during the summer to do some research. We also have some students who are in certain graduate programs that either require a work or a research placement, and they'll come during the summer. And we also have high school students who are over the age of 16 who can also have a summer research position. If there are any high school students in the audience today, we do highly recommend that you check out the UHN STEM Pathways webpage linked here. And they provide a lot of great resources and supports to high school students. So the requirements to work as a summer student are quite broad, but it is important to keep in mind that labs and programs can have their own eligibility criteria for the position. So just make sure that when you're looking at positions, make sure that you keep an eye out for any specific eligibility requirements. So now, what can you expect during your summer position? So it is encouraged that you all find a paid summer research position at UHN. And if you have a paid summer position, you must be paid at least minimum wage. And this applies also to if you have an award. Some awards are paid to you as a lump sum, but you will ultimately receive at least minimum wage for your summer work. You can also seek out volunteer positions as well, but we do encourage you to find paid opportunities where possible. The start dates in terms of work, meaning the number of hours you're going to work and the weeks that you will be working, are flexible and there are no specific requirements. Once you have secured a position, you can have a conversation with your supervisor to decide when you will start. Typically, though, students do work between May and August for their summer terms. So the style of position, so meaning like whether it's in person, remote, or a combo of the two, so being hybrid, are also available depending on the nature of the research, as well as would need to be a discussion between you and your supervisor to determine, the style of position and in person versus remote requirements. There are also, during your summer position, there's also many opportunities at UHN to learn about science and healthcare. You'll have the opportunity to attend different seminars and take part in other educational sessions. Of course, just like the one that we offered, the STAR program. But our office also hosts a number of different workshops throughout the year, so you'll also be able to take advantage of those learning opportunities as well. There are also many other offerings and programs available to you to make the most out of your summer. So we have put together here a database where you can learn about the different offerings you can access if you join UHN for the summer. And that will be, again, linked with the QR code. But one of those programs listed in that database that I want to highlight is the Cancer 360 Plus Summer Student Program. So this program is a program for all UHN summer students, and it is run by the Cancer Education Department. So this program is an e-learning program, so you can progress through it at your own pace and get a 360-degree view of cancer. So every week you'll be able to join different Q&A sessions with experts within the field. And then particularly for summer students within the Princess Margaret Cancer Program, you'll also have an opportunity to attend additional sessions in person, as well as enjoy some pizza and take part in their annual research day. And of note, this program runs from June to August. Now I've convinced you that summer research is a really fun thing to do, and that it can be a great stepping stone to different career options and areas and different learning opportunities. So we want to share with you a little bit more about how you can actually apply to these positions. So there are three main mechanisms for how to find a summer position at UHN, and we're going to go through each of them in a little bit more detail, and give you advice for each of those options. While many summer students do obtain positions by applying through summer programs or applying for job postings, which are the first 2 points outlined, the vast majority of people obtain a position by contacting UHN scientists directly. But again, we'll go through each of these points in greater detail. So the first one we'll start with is applying through summer programs. So there are many summer programs that help students find summer positions at UHN, and there are a couple of different ways in which they work. So some of the programs will help to match students with scientists directly. So you'll apply to the program and then they match you, where other programs will be individual job postings for specific positions that you apply for. And then if you get accepted to those positions, you'll then be part of the greater program. So a couple different ways that can work. We've made a database of all of the programs that we are aware of at UHN, at the University of Toronto, or with other groups that can help you obtain summer research positions at UHN. In this database, we've included descriptions of the programs, their requirements, the due dates or expected due dates if they are not posted yet, and how to apply. Check back this database frequently, as due dates and application deadlines are updated, we'll also be updating those as well. I'll also go through just a few of the key programs listed within this database that are available to apply for. But I just wanted to note that it may sound confusing that we are also including University of Toronto programs, but the vast majority of our scientists also have an affiliation with the U of T. So that's why by applying through some of the U of T programs, you'll therefore be connected with UHN scientists. It also means you don't have to be a university student to apply. Just make sure that you're having a look at the different eligibility requirements for each of them. The first program that I want to highlight is the Radiation Medicine program, and this is a great program that is affiliated with the Princess Margaret. So in this program, students will have the opportunity to work closely with researchers and clinicians from different backgrounds, including radiation oncology, medical physics, radiation therapy, and more. You'll be able to work on research projects focused around radiation medicine. This is of course a summer program, and the start and end dates will depend on each project related to a supervisor. So again, you'll be applying to specific supervisor-related job postings. So on the screen here, we of course have a link for you to learn more about the program and the application process. And it is also included in the database, which we will be sharing with everyone, again, along with the slides and the recording for anybody who missed that. So definitely check out this database frequently, as a lot of programs don't have deadlines or dates yet, but information on applying, particularly to this program. So the information to apply for this program will be available on their website in February 2026. And then you'll have to apply directly to the supervisors with your CV and cover letter. Next up, we have the Medical Biophysics Summer Student Program. So this is a summer research opportunity through the Medical Biophysics Department at the University of Toronto. And many of the faculty members in the Medical Biophysics Department are located at UHN. What's really great about this program is that you apply to be part of a central pool, and then your applications are reviewed based on your academics and research interests. Then faculty members review the applications, and then they will reach out to you to schedule an interview for a position. And just to note, the application deadline for this program is January 14th of next year in 2026, which I believe is a Wednesday. Another program to highlight is the Research Application Support Initiative, or RASI for short, which is also based out of the University of Toronto through their Community of Support. So those of you who don't know what the Community of Support is that it's a program at U of T which has a goal of increasing diversity in research in healthcare. So this program is for interested students who are Indigenous, Black, Filipino, socioeconomically disadvantaged, or who identify as having a disability, can apply to the Community of Support, and then will have access to this part of the program, the RASI program, which will then help support you in finding research positions. Of note, you don't need to be a U of T student to apply. You can access this program from any university, and is a great opportunity to get mentorship and also get one-on-one support to help find research positions. Now that I've highlighted some of the programs, I wanted just to touch on applying to job postings directly. So this is an option that isn't necessarily used a lot, but there are some who definitely use this approach. So do keep an eye on job postings. So where can you find them is you can find them on the UHN careers page. So new jobs are posted frequently, so I do recommend you check back often. And when you are looking at positions on the UHN careers page, this is where anybody who's looking for a job at UHN, regardless if it's looking for a summer student job posting or someone in a different role, this is where these jobs are found. So make sure that you're looking for titles that have, for example, summer student, co-op student, summer research assistant, or something like that in the title, just to make sure that you're applying to an appropriate position. And then, so some groups do hire through this mechanism, so please do keep an eye out there. We also try to highlight these positions on our own website when we see them, which is that website that I previously mentioned right at the beginning. And as well, it'll be located on the UHN STAR program page. So sometimes scientists will also post positions directly with us, and on the STAR program page is where you'll be able to find these opportunities. So now we have the main mechanism for how students set up summer research positions, which is contacting UHN scientists directly. So this process may seem a lot more intimidating, but there are a couple of steps involved, so we'll hopefully be able to provide you with lots of tips. So when you think about who to contact, there are two main ways you can do this. So the first one is you can explore the list of all of the scientists at UHN, so that you can find a supervisor that you would be interested in working with, and that you want to put on your list to contact. And the other way of doing so is to utilize your network or expand your network to help you find that position. And I know this may sound daunting, but I want to emphasize that networking and using your network or expanding your network is a really important tool to find jobs. But again, we'll go through that in a moment. So to help you find supervisors that you're interested in, UHN Research has this fantastic website to help you narrow down your search. So this website is very searchable, as it allows you to look up different scientist names, and by research institute, research interest, or by name directly. What I really like about this website is that the searching by research interest provides you with a bunch of keywords. When you click on it, it's a whole big page of keywords, which is searchable. And you can click on the different words to help you narrow down your search. So if you're interested in, things like genomics, sleep science, structural biology, molecular biology, whatever you're interested in, there could be a place for you to click. And then if you click on one of those ones, you will then be provided with a list of scientists' names who are working in those areas. Once you've identified you have a list of people that you want to explore, you can then click on their profiles to then learn more about the research. Some scientists also have lab websites linked through the Find a Supervisor page, and this is another great place to look at current research projects, publications, etc. And then as well help you identify if this group or lab is a good match for you. Another approach that I mentioned was using your network to find a position. So again, I know networking can be a little scary, but you'd be surprised that you've probably already built a network without even knowing it. So first off, a lot of you are probably taking courses at your university, so you can talk to your current or past professors about research interests. and they may have some recommendations or on who may be a good fit or and based on your research interests. If some of you have already ever worked in a lab, whether that being for an undergraduate thesis program, part of like a laboratory course as one part during your undergrad, or something else, the teaching assistants or the people in the lab are also great knowledge banks who might be able to connect you with people that they know or can give you suggestions or advice. So using the people who you are already interacting with in order is a great way to help you look and access some positions. And of course, you can also talk to your family or friends. Even if you don't think that they are connected to anyone, they may know somebody who knows somebody that can help you on your journey. So it's always great to ask. In addition to using your own network, you're also encouraged to expand your network. So if you find a lab that is particularly interesting to you, you can also see if they have a website, perhaps on the Find a Supervisor page or looking that up on Google to find any graduate students or postdoctoral researchers who are currently working in that lab and seeing if their contact information is available. And then you perhaps reaching out to them, whether by email or finding their LinkedIn, and seeing if they'd be willing to tell you more about the research. Just to note, it is really important to be genuine with these interactions and when you're talking to them, just to make sure that you're finding out if that lab is actually the right fit for you. And another approach is to attend different networking events, going to seminars, academic events, socials, just to see if you can meet different people to talk about summer research. So now we've identified these different approaches to finding a position. So I just want to talk a little bit about how to contact scientists directly. So first off, the best way to contact a scientist is to email them. So emailing them cold without knowing them to introduce yourself. I don't recommend calling them or going to their office. Just stick with emailing because that's the best. That's the best approach. Within your email to them, it's recommended that you include a statement of why you are interested in their research. This is really, really important because you want to show that you've taken the time to understand the field that they're working in and sharing why you are interested in their lab specifically. So just make sure you're not emailing as many scientists as possible with the same generic email. You want to make sure that you're taking the time to personalize it and want to give a reason and give them a reason to why they want to continue that discussion about a summer position. You also want to include your resume or your CV in your email. And the last thing you can include is also your transcript, if you feel comfortable, of course. This is not something you absolutely have to do. Some may request it, but if you feel your academic record is an asset to you to showcase your strong academic skills, then it's a great thing to add as well. You also always want to make sure that you are being professional when reaching out, but also personalizing it as well. It's striking a balance between making each of the emails unique while also maintaining and utilizing a professional tone. You also want to avoid grammar and spelling mistakes. A big thing in research is attention to detail. So if your email and your materials are riddled with spelling mistakes and grammar, that may be a little bit off-putting. And lastly, you also want to make sure that your email is very clear and very succinct. Short emails are often the best emails. So try your best to be as clear and succinct as possible. So now I've told you how to contact scientists, but we also invited a UHN scientist, Dr. Beata Sanders, who's a senior scientist here, who will share her advice to a prospective summer student. So I believe I saw Dr. Sanders arrive. So over to you.
All right, thanks so much, Jordan, and welcome everyone. It's really exciting to see so many of you here, or like kind of see you, but it's really great. I thought like Jordan, you kind of outlined it already really, really well, like kind of what to do. And I would say like first don't feel intimidated. Like, I mean, it's really, we love to get your emails. We love to have some students. We really, really want you. So no reason to be intimidated. I would say, if you are maybe a little, I thought that advice of kind of reaching out to current graduate students or postdocs is really, really good advice. And I think that's totally underused. Like this almost never happens, honestly. Like I'm not sure I've ever in my career seen that people reach out to my trainees first. And it's very easy to find out, even so if people don't have, I don't have a lab page, but I'm on the UHN website. I'm also on the U of T website. For my department, they actually list students I'm currently supervising. I think they also actually list the topics that they are working on, which I think might also be really, really great in terms of whether it's actually a good match, because often I feel like the more senior you become, the less research, hands-on research you actually do. And it's mostly kind of mentorship, supervision, and so on. So I think actually the work that my trainees do is a really good indication of what's going on in the lab. And I think the other piece to that is in terms of what's going on in the lab. My program is for the most part funded by CIHR, that's Canadian Institutes of Health Research, and they also have a website of funded projects. So that's basically, you can search by name, which means that's really telling you what's going on in the lab right now. Work and research that's not published yet, so it's not done yet, and so that might also give you a good indication. And so I'm saying all that because I find that making sure it's a good match is actually really, really important. And so maybe I should have actually started with the type of work we're doing. So I'm in health systems and policy research. My apologies for that. With a focus on infectious diseases, we're doing some simulation modeling, we're doing economic evaluations. And so, you kind of want to make sure that the skills you bring and the skills you want to learn kind of match up with that. And so that's why it's so important to figure out what people do. But that's what I was gonna say. So make sure it's a good match. I think the email you send is incredibly important, and I would say over the last year and a bit, the many emails I get that are very obviously AI or ChatGPT generated. It's just a bit overwhelming, to be honest. So I think I think people reach out to more scientists, and I think that's not good because it needs to be a good match anyway. I think they're also very long generally, so they're not short. And so you don't need to rehash or tell me all the work I have done. I know what work I have done. I think it's really about making that connection to what you want to learn and how it relates. But you don't need to go through, okay, I read paper ABC, and they all follow the same format. So you can easily see what's ChatGPT, honestly, and with the bolding in between. So I read paper this, and this. And often it's actually also papers that are not my major research area. So that's another tip. Like if you look for publications that maybe the scientist has published, look for publications where they are either the first or the senior author. So there are those papers where I'm somewhere in the middle as part of the project, but it's not really my major area of research that I'm doing. So if you kind of really interested in that, then I would say, go to the person who actually is the first author on that paper. It's not really my area that I'm primarily working in. And so the other part to the email itself, I'd say what's important to me is that you tell me what you want to learn. Like, what do you want to get out of it? High level. So sometimes it's more experience, maybe on something that you have learned in a course. Sometimes it's a bit like rearranging or trying out, like maybe things you haven't heard in your or studied so far. So, but something you may want to try out over summer to see if that's something that interests you. sometimes it's very specific methods that you want to learn. So I think that's all kind of really important. And it also tells me that, you come to my lab because you want to work in my lab or with someone kind of like me. And so kind of what do you want to get out of it? Your interest to learn, because to us, it's not, it's primarily really us wanting to support you in your learning experience. And so we need to make sure it's a good match. Um, what else? I think I prefer if you include your transcript, but I think people are different. I think, it doesn't really matter at the end. I think at the end of the day, probably every investigator will ask you for it anyway, so you may as well share it. If you're not happy with your grades in your first year or whatever it is, it's also okay to write a short blurb. I don't think, especially for undergrad, for a summer practicum, like we will look at your transcript, but it's not the major criteria. It's often also nice to see just like what kind of courses have you had so far, like kind of judging a little bit or getting some idea about experience you have. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I had, like off the top of my head. I would say maybe just adding on just one more thing to what Jordan talked about. Like we do not post, so I see most students we really recruit either because they reach out to us or they come through one of UHN's summer programs, and we try to get as many as we can as we have capacity. And so usually if people reach out, it is a good match. Then if we cannot take you because of we don't have capacity, and that's mostly the reason, unless it's not a good match. So then we are also usually happy to say, hey, you want us to send your CV or your email to a colleague who I know is working in a similar area and might be really of interest. So that's something that we definitely will do as well. And I know some questions around the timing. So some students reach out now. I think for me personally, or for my lab, it's January. So if you reach out, I would just say, hey, just reach out in January again. The reason that for most scientists and professors, the fall is the most busy time of the year. And so we have summer students until end of August. So there's still stuff that's being wrapped up. We're crazy busy just to keep our head over water. And so we haven't really quite figured out which ones of the projects are suitable for summer students. So that's usually what we do in January, kind of mapping out what's going to come, because we want you to have a good experience. And I also generally we are very open to, you reach out and you have something specific in mind that you would actually like to do. So as long as it fits into our research program and we can support it, so there's not, some additional big cost to do something, for example, we are also very happy to kind of support that. Yeah, so I see all kind of things that you may want to mention already in your email. And I think maybe not in the first email. That's okay. That's good. Like, I thought later on, like, I think what I also noticed with the hybrid work, I think it's really important to us that you're honest in terms of your commitments. So are you going to work full time or are you not going to work full time? Are you going to work 2 or 3 jobs, or are you also going to take 5 courses over the summer and work full time? So I think it's a little bit harder since we are no longer, at least for my lab, we're usually in the office 2 days a week, so it might change. But so if you're working remotely, we still would expect you, if you sign up for a full-time job, to work full-time. And it's not a problem if you cannot. We just want to know, and we want to kind of make sure that we have the right mix and that our expectations match. And, you're working on the right project for that time frame. Sorry, I'll stop now, Jordan.
No problem. This is
another hour. Just randomly, I would rather have questions, to be honest.
No problem. No, I think that was wonderful advice. I think I particularly appreciate your comments on the timing as well, because I know that can be a bit of a confusing topic of when to start reaching out, what's too early, what's too late. So I I appreciate that. I think, yeah,
Yeah.
January is definitely a good time when people are starting to think about that, after the holidays and all of that. So thank you so much for sharing your point of view.
Thank you.
All right. With that, I'd like to now pass it over to a former summer student, Daniel Fragomeni, who was a summer student at the Princess Margaret Cancer Centre, and is also a student at the University of Toronto. Just pop his spotlight here, and I'll pass it over to you, Daniel.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you again for inviting me, Jordan, and for the introduction. My name is Daniel Fragomeni. I'm a third-year student at the University of Toronto studying immunology, microbiology, and statistics. And as Jordan just mentioned, I was a summer research student this past summer at the Princess Margaret Cancer Center in a lab called the Center for Integrative Immune Analysis, which is part of the tumor immunotherapy program. So earlier, Jordan mentioned some immuno-oncology research. I was part of that branch of the cancer research at the Princess Margaret Cancer Center. I had a really great experience in the ORT STAR program. I think the highlight for me and most of my peers was the research day. It was my first time doing a poster presentation. It was a little intimidating, but once you got there, I got to see the work that my peers have been doing for the entire summer. And it was a really great experience to present, to learn a lot about the work that my friends had been doing. Um, Overall, I just had a really great experience. Also, I would like to highlight, and I believe this information is available on the website as well. They do a lot of great events throughout the summer for the summer students. I learned a lot. I would try to go in when possible. Sometimes I had to watch the recording if I was running an experiment. But the session where they invited recent graduates or people in graduate school to talk about careers after graduate school, I felt was particularly helpful, especially now that so many people are attending graduate school. People are getting a lot more creative with the jobs that they are using with their graduate degree. So I thought that was very helpful, but I also received a lot of very good advice about networking, optimizing my LinkedIn profile, and just meeting a bunch of like-minded peers, many of which were in undergrad, some of them were in medical school, very a lot of them were not from the University of Toronto, so I got to meet people at different universities as well, which was just great to expand my network, meet like-minded peers. Yeah. So I think the advice I would like to give, a lot of it was mentioned earlier, but there were maybe three things that I would like to offer my perspective on. First of which, as Jordan and Dr. Sander mentioned a lot, networking with TAs, graduate students. It can be difficult to speak to PIs themselves. Some people feel intimidated. They can be hard to reach out to. So, meeting people in their lab that maybe can then refer you to their supervisor afterwards is great. In my experience, I also found if you're an undergrad, speaking to upper level students, so people in third year or fourth year that have done research before, that can then give you some recommendations. They might know people that are doing undergraduate research as well. Their labs might be looking for other students to take on. So I think that would be a really good place to start. One thing I don't think was mentioned, emails are very important. I also think follow-up emails are extremely important. Um, Dr. Sander, I'm sure could attest to this. They get a lot of emails every single day. I've heard stories of PIs getting over 100 emails every day. It's very easy for them to miss your email. It's not personal. It's just they probably didn't see it. Maybe they didn't recognize your name. They had a busy day and they couldn't respond. So I never felt afraid to maybe after a week or 2 weeks, if you're interested in a position, just send a little follow-up email, hi, Dr. So-and-so. Hope this email finds you well. I'm still interested in this research position. If you're available, please let me know how to proceed. Just something very professional, short, and that can give you an idea if they would still be interested in looking at you. And the last thing I'd like to say is maybe on a bit of just a hopeful note, even if you are unable to find a research position, I think just the skill of learning how to apply to labs is very important. For many of you, this may be your first time trying to get a research position. And even if you are unable to get one, learning how to go through the motions, writing these letters of intent, crafting these emails, making sure your resume or your CV is up to date, these things are very important skills. And I learned a lot from doing the application process, and it continues to benefit me now as I continue in undergrad. I'm still a part of UHN. I'm doing a thesis course for my third year with a UHN supervisor, and I had to continuously go back to the application process I worked on throughout the summer to now apply for a fall-winter position for the school year. So even if you are unable to get a position, this is a very important skill set that you will keep falling back on.
That's great. Thank you, Daniel. That's, I think, some really important and great points that you've emphasized. And I think it's great too to hear from someone at your stage, how you went through it and some of the resilience mechanisms there. So thank you, and I'm glad to see you'll be back at UHN, and I'm glad that you enjoyed the summer program. Oh, I lost my go. All right, so before we move over to the question and answer period, I just have one more slide and note to share, particularly on summer research awards. So I just wanted to highlight that there are a lot of summer research awards that are out there. These are great opportunities because they help advance your CV or your resume, but can also help you in your pursuit for finding a paid summer research position. So for example, if you win an award that covers your summer pay, it can also make it a lot easier for a scientist to take you on over the summertime because you are coming either with some funding associated with you already. There are a lot of different places where you can apply for summer research awards, and we also have a database for this. And it's linked here. And there are also a number of different awards for specific populations of students. So I encourage you to look for that as well. So now that brings us to the end of our presentation portion. I see that there's already a lot of questions popping up into the chat, which is amazing. But before we move over there, I'm just going to pop up our first poll. So if you wouldn't mind, it's a quick multiple choice question. We'd love to see your feedback on the session today. But as you're doing that, we can start looking at questions. With Slido, you do have the opportunity to upvote questions. So that'll just give me some help moderating the session, because I'll be able to know which questions are the most popular, and then help me go down the list there. So as people are filling out the first feedback poll, I'll start looking at some of the questions. So the first question that I'm seeing here is, are students who are already graduated undergrad or currently in a gap year eligible to apply to summer research programs? So how that works is, this is how this works. So students who are in a gap year who have like a graduate program or enrolled for another program at the university are eligible to apply for summer research positions. If you don't have like a grad program or a program set up after your undergrad, then you can still be hired over the summertime. That just may influence like the title that you receive at the time of your hiring. So you're still encouraged to reach out to look for some positions. Next question is, are we less likely to be selected if we have little to no research experience? And what GPA do researchers typically look for when taking in students? So I'll just answer the first part of the question first. So are we less likely to be selected if we have little to no research experience? I don't think so. I think it all depends on what and how you frame your experiences. You may not have actual experiences working in the lab, but you may have some experiences that are still relevant that you can cite when you are reaching out to supervisors. So for example, if you have a lot of extracurricular experiences, like on different student committees or volunteering or something like that, you may be involved with a lot of time management or project management or things like that, which are really relevant in the research space. So definitely, if you don't have any like formal, in the lab or in a research setting experience, that you can absolutely pull on different ties in different areas of your own background and experience to help you showcase some of those skills that are necessary. So I don't think you would be less likely. Again, it all depends on if certain skills. I mean, if one group is asking you to have like some experience in maybe like coding in like R or Python and you don't have any, so that may influence it, but generally I don't think so. And then in terms of what GPA do researchers typically look for, again, I don't think there's a specific number or a target point that they're asking. Some programs may have specific GPA requirements to take part in the program. So that's something you just need to make sure you look at either the job posting or the application for those programs. But again, like Dr. Sander had mentioned, if you're a little bit concerned about some of your GPA points, it's definitely okay to just put a note about your first year or something like that, that I know this may be less than ideal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But definitely still consider reaching out, even if you don't feel your GPA is quite there. Next question is, can we contact scientists directly for summer programs? I think your best approach would be to follow the guidelines within a specific program. So for example, like if one program, like for example, like the radiation medicine program has already listed, we'll already have all the scientists listed who are part of that program. So I think just for that apply directly just to the supervisor within the guidelines that are outlined within that specific program. You can, like as we talked about, just contact scientists directly if they're not associated with the program, and then you can also take part in other different opportunities like the STAR program or other things offered at UHN to also supplement your experience. Can the summer research program be considered? Ooh, things are moving. I'm just gotta highlight this question here. Can the summer research program be considered a co-op for undergraduate students? I think what you can do is if you're looking for a co-op position, just making sure that's part of your ask. I would just double check again if you're looking to meeting co-op requirements for your degree, just make sure you're talking with the co-op office at your university, and just make sure that when you're applying to a position that it can be a co-op. And if it's for a specific program, I would suggest reaching out to the program administrators for that program. See, can we contact? I answered that one. I see one hand up. Zia, if you're comfortable asking your question out loud, I'm happy to take one out loud. Just note that the session is being recorded, so if you're comfortable asking your question out loud on the recording, it's welcomed.
Hi. How are
Hi,
you doing?
good. How are you?
I'm good too, thank you. Actually, I was getting disconnected throughout, so I couldn't really get through the whole thing. Is there like another session will you will be hosting, or like maybe the recording, because you just mentioned it's being recorded?
Yeah, great question. The session is being recorded, so if anybody had missed that, we are recording a session, and we will be sharing a link to this recording, as well as any of the links to the QR codes or anything else that we talked about. Will all be sent in an email where you can access everything after the session. So if you want to go back and hear something else that I've said or read the slides again, that'll all be included in an email sent to everyone who registered
Okay.
after. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
no problem. Thanks for asking. The next question is how to stand out, in a pool of applicants. I would say this all comes down to your application materials, making sure that you're really highlighting relevant experience or experience that you can tie back to the research. If you don't have specific in-lab experience or in research experience, tying in other aspects of your own CV or your resume that can still be relevant, like managing different projects or managing my time and those types of things. So I think really creating strong application materials that are, really highlighting your interests, why you want to be there, what you want to get out of it, I think are all really important things to help you stand out. So again, a lot of the information that we share today, but just really making sure it's again as well written as it can be, avoiding grammar and spelling mistakes as much as possible, and really just highlighting your interests and excitement to why you want to be there. Next question is, what are some extracurricular activities that labs are looking for? I don't think there is any specific extracurricular activities that are looking for. Like you must have been on this committee at the university. I think it's just mainly using those extracurricular activities to leverage your application. So it's just like, again, like I've said a few times, if you don't have that lab experience, using that to tie in some of the skills that could be relevant in the lab, even if they weren't acquired from another lab position. Or you know, a lot of these positions can display some leadership or some interest in a topic or something like that. So really just if you have extracurricular activities that can be tied into the position that you're applying for, definitely use those where possible. Next question is, do scientists prefer a cold email or a warm email when contacted? So I think just to clarify some of the terminology, when we're talking about a cold email, that just refers to just emailing somebody outright who you've never met before. So anybody here who would send me an email who I've never met before asking about something, that would be a cold email. So you definitely want to keep like a warm and friendly tone, but in terms of like a cold email, that's just emailing somebody outright, asking them about a summer position, even if you've never, that you've not met before. Next question is, how can we network with supervisors and scientists? Can we do this through LinkedIn? So as we mentioned, there are a few different ways that you can network. Of course, you can network through attending different events that scientists may be at, different socials, different academic related events, seminars. There's a lot of public groups and societies that that put on talks and different discipline-based programming. So perhaps you may encounter a scientist there. I mean, it's not guaranteed who's going to show up, but that could be a place to meet some there, as well as in any of your undergraduate courses. If you can go up to your professor at the end of class and say, hey, I'd love to talk about research, whether it's theirs or if you want to ask them about questions about somebody maybe in their department or something like that. That can be another way to network with. Oh, the question disappeared. With professors, or you can also again meet them through kind of secondarily through like, you know, talking to grad students, talking to TAs in your undergraduate courses, and asking them about questions, asking them about positions, and see if it's possible to chat with their supervisors or laboratory professors or anything like that. In terms of using LinkedIn, LinkedIn's a great tool for networking. Definitely can be a place to look for positions. I mean, people's usages vary in terms of LinkedIn, excuse me. Some use them a lot more, some use them a lot less. So you can definitely use LinkedIn if you're comfortable and want to reach out there. Our students, next question is, are students able to extend their work term with a supervisor, or are these programs strictly summer-based? Some of those specific programs that are listed in that database maybe are summer specific, but maybe there's some discussions if you're working directly under a supervisor, you can have those discussions with them to see if extension is possible. And again, with supervisors who aren't necessarily linked to a program, you've reached out to them directly. Again, that's a conversation you can have with them to see if it's feasible to stick around after the summer period. But some of these positions are not exclusively just summer related, but you are working as like in your title and all that stuff is working as a summer student. So some extensions could happen if feasible. I just saw it pop up on my Slido, and it's saying there's some unexpected downtime or issues. So if anybody is also having issues submitting questions, just pop up your hand and we can also open up the chat if necessary. But hopefully everything is still working on your end. Next question is, is there any support/aid for residency for international students during summer research? I think this question is you'd have to talk to, again, if you're located with a university or if you've found a summer student position, speaking with the people in culture or HR team, and as well as your supervisor to see what the best approach would be to navigate the aid or supports for residency for coming. But since that's a little bit more complicated for discussion today, but definitely if that's something that's you're looking into, I encourage you to reach out to the people in culture department or HR. There's people that are here that can help navigate that and to see if that is something that's possible. Next question I see here is, when emailing scientists, what is a good format / structure you would recommend for the email? So again, I think hitting those points that we talked about, making sure that you're sharing that full statement of interest. So, hi, my name is Jordan. I'm a third-year undergraduate student at the University of Toronto, so then really talking about, I'm interested in doing your work in, I don't know, microbiology of something, and then really going into and sharing again why you're interested in the research, what is it that you want to learn, and those outcomes that you want to get. I think those are some really great points to hit there, as well as including some of your relevant experiences. If you don't have any like laboratory experiences, you can just say, though I don't have. I've never worked in a lab before, but I've done all these different things that have set me up for success to learn how to learn laboratory related skills, and I'm really excited to do so. And then including those documents that would be relevant. But I think I don't know if there's a specific formula or specific structure that's necessary. I think it's all depending and should be personal to you and personal to the person that you're reaching out to. But again, always making sure that you're showcasing why you're interested, what do you want to learn, as well as those types of information. So again, just including things like that. I saw a hand pop up and then go away. I just want to make sure that there's no issues on the Slido side of things. Feel free to unmute yourself if you are. But if not, I will keep going. Next question here I see is, when is the best time to start sending emails to scientists? Just to reiterate what Dr. Sander had mentioned, which was a great point in terms of, it's definitely a balance between choosing when to send these emails. You want to send them early enough so that the positions aren't all filled, but not too early where that's not the summer students and summer student projects aren't having to become a priority yet. So it's really that balance again, like she mentioned. Before January, there's still the fall term is very busy with graduate students and then summer students leaving in August from the previous summer, and then really coming after the holidays into January is really when people start thinking about it. So I think I would agree. I think maybe January is a great time to start thinking about it, but there's definitely some work that needs to be done in advance of that. Even if you're sending your email in January, there's still work that needs to be done leading up to that. So that's why we're hosting our information session here today in November. So you can start learning about the research and deciding who you want to reach out to, and also crafting your materials, adjusting your materials relevant to the research area. So there's a bit of work that's leading up to it, but I would say, again, definitely earlier the better, but maybe starting kind of in January in the new year is a great place to start. Jalen, I see your hand up. I can take another, if you're comfortable being on the recording.
Yeah. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I was just wanting to ask because currently at work, I'm doing just started like a research paper with clinician and researcher. I was just wondering, how would you recommend getting just funding for myself? That is there a studentship I could apply to so I could put this off as a summer type of job? Or
yeah, for summer, there's definitely a number of different research awards that you can apply to that can provide funding. So there's a number of them offered through your university. There's things like CIHR or NSERC awards that you can consider applying to. A lot of different professional societies. So anything there's one called the Canadian Cancer Society, which has some undergraduate student awards, which is a society related to cancer research. And then again, some of those summer programs. We do have a database that's available, so we'll share that again with everyone, so you can have a look through that database to see the ones that we've identified as well.
And those awards. Oh, sorry. And those awards is what's the criteria for the awards? Because
There are a lot of I would say I would have a look at the award website specifically because they all differ. Some may have
I see.
specific discipline specific research areas, GPAs, undergraduate program of study. So there are a lot of different factors that can influence the eligibility. So it's not just blanket across all programs.
Okay. And I was just wondering, how would you recommend leveraging this into like potentially getting further like opportunities?
In terms of
Like maybe
after the summer?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're successful in getting a summer position, that's definitely if you're interested in continuing either within that same group, those are definitely some conversations that you can have with your supervisor, with the supervisor, and to determine whether or not that if it's feasible for you to stick around longer after the summer term. So again, those are some conversations that you can have, or if you're ready to try, if you want to go off to a different group, you can leverage your summer experience in those emails that you're sending, or maybe you've met people in that department that you're working at. You can have some conversations with that way. So there's definitely ways you can leverage your summer work.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm just going to jump back to the Slido, and then I'll take your question after in a moment. That I see the hand up. Back here, so in the question here I see is, in terms of the research that we do alongside a supervisor, can these lead to publications, or is the goal only the poster presentation? I've definitely seen some undergraduate students some summer students being included on publications. So it all depends on the type of work that you're doing and the type of contributions you're making. So it's definitely, it can be a possibility, and those are some conversations again that would be important to have within the group if there's some possibilities. But of course, always those poster presentations are also really great to do, because those are also something you can put on your resume as some scholarly activities that you've had. So publications can happen, but those again those some important conversations to have kind of with your supervisor at that time. I'm Shilpa. Do you have a question I can answer?
Hi, Jordan. Thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. I'm actually an internationally trained graduate. I do have a PhD in microbiology, and also I did my postgraduate diploma in clinical research in Canada recently. I have completed my course here in Canada through Academy of Applied Pharmaceutical Sciences. It's a college which I attended. But my question to you is, because I the summer programs are usually for the young graduates and just pass outs, as you just mentioned in the beginning. So I just wanted to know if I want to come and experience the lab, the research culture and the lab, because I've been trying to connect to a lot of scientists earlier, but then I've not been very successful. So I thought maybe research program would work. Summer research would be a good place for me to start. So is there any age bar restriction or something like that? Or because I'm okay to go and do that this thing. So is there an age which can stop me from being eligible, or do I have to take a different route?
Yeah, so I guess just the scope of today's presentation was involved just from the summer for summer students. So particularly in the range of undergraduate students, those small subset of graduate students, and then some of those other groups of students there. Feel free to send us an email after our email. I'll share our email at the end, and I can answer some of those questions further by email. But I just wanted to again focus back on just some of the undergraduate related questions.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Just for the remainder of the time, since there's only 15 minutes left, I'm just going to focus back on the slide because there's a ton of questions which we haven't gotten to. So I'll try and kind of rapidly get through as many as I can. So for graduates, the next question here is, for graduate students, if I'm expected to graduate in May 2026 and therefore do not have mandatory work requirements, can I still apply for a summer position? Again, so those are some of those specific criteria. So for those undergraduate students, or in between a undergraduate student and graduate program, there's still some opportunities to apply for positions. Again, the titles may be different, but if your program is a full research-based program, I'm not sure a summer position is right for you, but if there are some other, you're welcome to also explore other opportunities. Do we need to secure a summer research position before joining the summer research program, or can we do one without the other? So if you're talking about the STAR program, so the Summer Training and Research Program, which is the program offered by our office, to participate in that program, you need to have be a summer student at UHN prior to joining. So whether you've secured your position by contacting a supervisor directly or you're through a different summer program, regardless if you're at UHN as a summer student, you are eligible to apply. So that is so that's the only stipulation for ours. That's the stipulation for our summer program, and then you can participate in all of the different components. So yes, you will need to secure a summer research position before joining the STAR program. And there's no specific application for the for the STAR program. Basically, once you've been onboarded at UHN, you then there's a one other registration step with our office, and then you're eligible to participate in that program. But you'll receive all that information if you're onboarded and become a summer student. Again, we discussed the question about minimum GPA. So again, not necessarily, but again, just having that conversation. If you don't think your GPA is quite high enough, and then also looking at some of the different requirements for programs which may have specific GPA requirements. I'm just going to go down to looking at some topics that we haven't touched on yet. There's one question about when are the most application deadlines. A lot of the programs in that database, there's some of those programs haven't opened yet or haven't opened their applications yet, so their deadlines aren't available yet. Just from years past, I've seen deadlines as early as January, and I've seen some as late as April. With a lot of them, I find a lot of them kind of concentrated for programs specifically around kind of February, March. But again, within that database that we have, we will be updating those once we see those see that they're available, so that you'll be able to look and see when the appropriate time is to apply. But again, check back if there's one particularly that you're interested in. Check back frequently so that you make sure that you know when the deadline is, so you don't happen to miss that application deadline. So there's 4 labs. Do we need references or connections to get in? Not necessarily. I think if you're applying to a lab and the supervisor is asking for references, that could be something that you would need to provide. But generally, if looking at the program requirements or the request from the person you're reaching out to, may ask for references, but connections aren't always necessary. I mean, building those connections through networking can definitely be an advantage, but you can find positions just directly applying to a program or sending an email directly to a supervisor. Just one question here referring back to some of those 3 methods for obtaining a summer research position, and are they specific to UHN? No. If you're interested in working in a different site, there's definitely I imagine those are definitely some of the processes there. You may, if you're specifically looking at a specific university or research hospital, you may want to consider looking at their if they have web pages on their research training centers or any other information there to see if they have unique processes. But I imagine that you can still directly reach out and they can help direct it that way. You say that we should email scientists, but is there a website where you can look up the scientists and what they do? The answer is yes. There is a website called Find a Supervisor, which we referenced earlier in the presentation. The link will be sent out. So this is a great website which just outlines all of the different supervisors that are located at UHN. It's filterable, so by research institute or site, by research area, as well as just by name. So if you happen to know the name, you can look them up there and find their contact information. But you can also, what I like, again, just to highlight it again on this website, there is a, what I think is the best is the filtering by research interest. So again, you can go through that list, you can kind of search up some keywords that you think, and if some of those keywords pop up or there's something similar, you can click on that keyword, and then you can, you'll then receive a list of people who identified that keyword as part of the research, and then kind of look through that list and identify who you want to contact. And by clicking on their profile, you'll be able to find their contact information. Some may have their lab website linked. They have a lab website, but that's a good place to start. Just again, yes, the recording will be shared and will be posted and shared with everybody here. Just kind of rapid fire. My program only has one exam per year in May, so I don't have a transcript right now. I think just if they're asking for transcripts, just be transparent in terms of the type of program you're in and what you're working on, and then you can just share some information and see if there's something else, other information that would be acceptable to send. Is there studentships available at UHN, or would you recommend funding for research already being done by a clinician or research? Additionally, how can I leverage this for experiences? So in terms of, if there's studentships available at UHN, we do have, again, this database of awards. I believe there's a couple on that list which are unique to UHN, but there's also some external awards that you can also bring to UHN, either through your university or directly to UHN. Researchers and researchers do have have research grants which you can help pay personnel. So if that's something that's available and they can use, then that's a way of getting paid. But it's also great to have a research award, both for your CV and also some marketability. We are hitting just kind of close to getting close to almost 5 minutes out. So I just want to pop up our second feedback poll just to make sure that everyone here has a chance to share their feedback. So this next poll, it's a 2-question poll, so just make sure you scroll down. The first one is, again, that same 5-point scale, and then the next one is a larger one, so it's a 10-point scale. So if you have, we'd really appreciate it if you can fill those out. So recording. I think I've kind of captured most of the topics. I'm just scrolling through. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. I think I've answered most of the questions. I'm just going to pop up now some contact information so that you can reach out to us. So just on the screen here is our contact information. So I really want to thank everyone for coming today. Thank you, Dr. Sanders. Thank you, Daniel, for sharing all of your information with us and your advice. It's been really great seeing so many people here today. If you have any outstanding questions, you can contact us by email, ortadmin@uhn.ca. Our website, uhntrainees.ca, is where you can find all of this information. And just again, to reiterate to everybody that all of this information that we've shared today, the recording, a PDF copy of the slides, and anything else that we've shared today will be included in a post-event email, where you can access this and refer back to as you're on your hunt for a summer student position. You can also connect with us on Twitter or X, as well as LinkedIn. Again, thank you so much for coming, and good luck on your search for a summer student position.